Today is going to be a truly historic day for the Mac. Today, we're going to tell you about some really big changes, how we're going to take the Mac to a whole new level. The Mac has had three major transitions in its history: the move to PowerPC, the transition to Mac OS X, and the move to Intel. And now it's time for a huge leap forward for the Mac, because today is the day we're announcing that the Mac is transitioning to our own Apple Silicon. When we look ahead, we envision some amazing new products, and transitioning to our own custom silicon is what will enable us to bring them to life.
We've been building and refining our Apple Silicon for over a decade. The result is a scalable architecture that is custom designed for Apple products, and it leads the industry in features and performance per watt. Now, when we talk about performance, we have to talk about power, because all systems built today are constrained by power consumption, thermals, or both. Among today's consumer systems, desktops deliver the highest performance but consume the most power. Notebooks trade off performance for lower power, making them portable. As you can see, normally to get more performance, you have to consume more power. When you take a closer look at this chart, you realize you want to operate in the upper left corner. You want to deliver the highest performance at the lowest power consumption. And that's exactly where we want to take the Mac. Building upon our years of experience designing the world's most energy-efficient chips, our plan is to give the Mac a much higher level of performance, while at the same time consuming less power. So much better performance is reason enough to transition the Mac to Apple SoCs. But that's just part of the story. Our scalable architecture includes many custom technologies that, when integrated with our software, will bring even more innovation to the Mac. So what does all of this mean for the Mac? First, we're designing a family of SoCs specifically for the Mac product line. Second, just like we did with the iPhone, iPad, and Watch, we're going to bring great technologies to the Mac. This will give the Mac a unique set of features and incredible performance. And third, we'll have a common architecture across all of our product lines, making it far easier for developers to write and optimize software for the entire Apple ecosystem. Now, a key advantage we have is the tight integration of our silicon with our software.
Let's talk about the technologies that we've built into macOS Big Sur that will make the transition to Apple Silicon smooth and seamless for both consumers and developers. Users will want their favorite apps to take full advantage of the capabilities of our custom silicon. And the best way to do that is with native apps. So, of course, when we updated our apps for Big Sur, we built everything as native for Apple Silicon. And I'm happy to say we have all of our own Apple apps, including our most demanding Pro apps, like Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro, up and running as native now, and they'll be ready for customers on day one. So how did we do this? Well, using Xcode, just like all our developers will. Everything developers need to build apps for these new chips is built into the new version of Xcode. To get started, developers just open their app projects and recompile. And the vast majority of developers can get their apps up and running in just a matter of days. And to deliver these apps, we've created Universal 2. It's a new type of universal binary that works on both Intel-based Macs and Macs built on Apple Silicon. So developers can tap into the native power and performance of our new Macs and still support Intel-based Macs, all with a single binary for all of their users. So let's take a look at macOS running on Apple Silicon. So here we are on the desktop that we know and love. And I'm just going to open up About This Mac. And what you see here is that we are running on our Apple development platform. This is a system built to support early development using the same A12Z processor currently shipping in iPad Pro. Of course, a big part of the Mac experience is third-party apps. And we've been working with our friends at Microsoft, and they already have Office up and running natively on our new Macs. Let's take a look at Word. It runs great. Scrolling is super smooth. Everything you do is just super responsive. Next, let's check out Excel. Just as you'd expect, complex sheets and elements like this map all update instantly. And next, let's take a look at PowerPoint. It's using Metal for rendering, and it performs great. For instance, check out how I can see all the layers of my slide in 3D. The animation is perfectly fluid. Now, we've also been working closely with our friends at Adobe to bring Creative Cloud to our new Macs. Here's Lightroom running native on Apple Silicon. Navigating large libraries of DNG images is super fast. And all of Lightroom's editing controls are available right here. Now, let's apply an adjustment to this image. Well, that's much better. And we can apply that same edit to all of these images in a single step. Next, let me show you the app I know many of you want to see, Photoshop. Here's a 5 GB Photoshop file by photographer Stephen Wilkes. Now, this is a heavy-duty document with lots of layers. Now, let's add one more bird in there. Let's check out how smooth the animation is as I zoom out. Finally, let's turn to one of our most sophisticated apps, Final Cut Pro. Here it is running on Apple Silicon for the first time. Let's play back some 4K video. As you can see, playback is super smooth, and all your filters are here, and you can apply them in real time. Let's try some color correction. And I can even add animated titles and lens flare, all during live playback. And Final Cut takes advantage of the unique capabilities of the Apple Neural Engine with a new feature that analyzes video and intelligently crops it to keep the most important action in the frame. But that's not all. Final Cut fully exploits the system's multi-core architecture to let us play back not just 1 or 2, but 3 streams of full-resolution 4K ProRes, all on an A12Z processor. The transition to Apple Silicon is also great for developers who've already optimized their apps for other Apple platforms. The shared architecture across our products means that their code will absolutely sing on our new Macs. And there's even more to the story. We're doing some really important things to make this transition seamless for our users. Now, while we expect most developers will go native immediately, we want to make sure that users can run all of their apps on day one, even if some apps haven't yet been updated. Now, we've been down this road before. When we transitioned from PowerPC to Intel processors, a cornerstone of that transition was Rosetta, a technology that makes it possible to run PowerPC apps on Intel-based Macs. macOS Big Sur will include a new version of Rosetta, Rosetta 2. Rosetta 2 automatically translates your existing Mac apps so they work on new Macs with Apple Silicon. And this time, Rosetta is even faster, more powerful, and more compatible. It translates the apps when you install them so they can launch immediately and be instantly responsive.
Let's take a look at some existing apps running under Rosetta. Rosetta, of course, works great with all sorts of apps that you use every day. But for our first demo, I'd like to show you something a bit more challenging. This is Maya, the powerful animation and modeling software, running great here on Apple Silicon. I already have a model open that consists of over 6 million polygons, and as you can see, I can fluidly move around in this scene. So let's make it a little more challenging and bring in textures and shaders as well. And still, everything is incredibly fluid. But Rosetta isn't just for apps, it also works amazingly well with games. I can even use a game controller. This is Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a high-end AAA game that's using our Metal APIs. I downloaded it directly from the Mac App Store, so it's completely unmodified, and it is absolutely beautiful. Let me jump into the water. You can see some of the lighting effects here. And as I follow the path, you can see the game is responsive, it's smooth. And the best part is, they're running it at 1080p as a translated app under emulation. So these new Macs, they are fast. You can see some more of the lighting effects here. It's awesome what Rosetta can do with existing games. Now, I want to show you one more type of app to run on these new Macs that we haven't even told you about yet, and that is iPhone and iPad apps. Since they've been built to run on the same Apple Silicon that we're using in our new Macs, they will run natively, completely unmodified on the new Macs as well. Let me show you a few. This here is one of my favorite games, Monument Valley 2. It's fun to play here on the new Mac. And if I want to catch up on my guitar lessons, I can use Fender Play. Or if I want to relax at the end of the day a little bit, I can bring up the Calm app.
Starting day one, users can download these apps right from the Mac App Store. And most apps will just work with no changes from the developer. Together, we have all the technologies in place to make this an amazing transition.
So what's the timeline for this transition? Well, for developers, it begins this week with the valuable information delivered at this conference, as well as applying for the Quick Start program. And for the customers, we expect to ship our first Mac with Apple Silicon by the end of this year, and we expect the transition to take about 2 years. We plan to continue to support and release new versions of macOS for Intel-based Macs for years to come. In fact, we have some new Intel-based Macs in the pipeline that we're really excited about. What a huge leap forward for the Mac and for Apple. Apple Silicon will bring amazing technologies, industry-leading performance, and a common architecture across all of our products.